Welcome to the American Business Podcast. I'm Kevin Deveji, your host. I'm welcoming you to the special edition 2025 Year in Review special edition in the American Business Podcast. The American Business Podcast is the voice of American business. Today is December 26, 2025. Today we'll cover year 2025 in the American Business Podcast. We have accomplished a lot with your help and support. We truly appreciate it. And also today we like to review fundamentals of American Business Podcast and our mission. As you know, the American Business Podcast is a YouTube award-winning America's fastest growing business podcast. Thank you for your support. We truly appreciate it. The American Business Podcast is live first, independent, unfiltered, informative, non-political American business podcast to share informative and educational content with today's and next generation business professionals, entrepreneurs, business owners, business leaders, educators, and the workforce. We are proud of our mission, and the American Business Podcast promotes, supports, and uplifts American businesses, American nonprofits, and American manufacturers. Having said that, for us to share education information with next generation is critical, and it's an important part of our mission in the American Business Podcast. Before we start our review, I like to share that if you like to be a guest in the American Business Podcast, please send us an email, americanbusinesspodcast@gmail.com. If you like to sponsor, if you like to promote your products, your services, your company, if you like to sponsor the American Business Podcast episodes, please send us an email, americanbusinesspodcast@gmail.com. We love to hear from you. Your feedback is important for us, and that is how we are shaping the content coming to you weekly basis live from New York City. Also, I'd like to invite you to our website, americanpodcast.tv. You can see our updates, coming podcast schedules, and our guests in coming days and coming weeks as well. With your help and support, right now on YouTube, we have more than 130,000 subscribers. Thank you very much for your support. We truly appreciate it. If you haven't done so, please go to our YouTube channel and subscribe, like, share, and also share your comments. Your thoughts are important for us. That's a QR code that you can scan, and it'll take you to our YouTube page, and you can subscribe, like, share, and also put your comments in the chat box as well. Okay, great. So let's get started our review for 2025. As I mentioned earlier, education is very important. Sharing informative content is very important for the American Business Podcast and the American Business Podcast business community. Having said that, I'd like to invite you to our episode with Phil Beltrano. We talk about next generation, as well as how next generation business professionals can prepare for the job market. That's a very important subject, and this episode is full of information, practical information that you can review. Let's get it started, and let's have our review together. Hello. Good afternoon. This is Kevin Deveji, your host at American Business Podcast for the next generation, ABP. Today we are excited. We have Phil Beltrano with us from Helppedia, and he's the co-founder of the company, and we have a lot to discuss. The goal and purpose of our podcast is to share wisdom and insight with the next generation. And also we like next generation to get involved and follow our podcast, so that with their help and support and their insight, we'll keep running our podcast to share the wisdom both ways. So today I'm with Phil Vetrano, as I mentioned. I'm excited to learn from him. He is very active in the educating next generation field, I must say. He's a leader in his field and he has a lot of insights. Phil, welcome.
Thank you, Kevin, for having me. Wonderful podcast you have here.
I appreciate it. Thank you for your support, and I'm happy that you join us on this beautiful Friday afternoon, right? So we can discuss our subject and we can share some insights, some wisdom with the next generation. Well, as a start, would you please, for our audience and our listeners, would you please introduce yourself and your company?
Sure. So my name is Philip Vetrano, and I'm an independent college and career coach. And my company is called Planning a Vision. I also do some business consulting on the side. I'm a business analyst through and through, but my analytical skills go across being an independent college and career coach. I'm utilizing the same skills I learned for the past 20 years in the world of IT, and applying those skills to support the next generation and parents, to help them navigate the college and career process. And so I started my company back in 2018. And in 2021, I started a nonprofit organization called Helpopedia. And I saw how much support students need and how much support parents need to just navigate and be prepared for life, and sharing knowledge with their teens and their students and their kids, to really prepare them for life, because school doesn't cover all those necessary skills, and nor are you learning them at home. Generally, parents aren't teaching 40 hours a week the skills that they may have to their kids, and then the skills that they don't have, they're not addressing them. There's quite a bit of, there's over 25 skills that you need to make an informed decision, but not necessarily are they being taught. So I started I've co-founded with Lauren Lynn Mears, who's my co-founder, and we've gathered 33 community partners who provide services for youth development. And that's pretty much the core of Helpopedia, is that we're like a concierge for education, for the gaps that are not covered at school or home.
Thank you. Yes, very exciting and very important mission that your organization has. And yes, in addition to support the next generation, we cannot forget about parents, right? So that's very important. I'm glad you're also helping them as well, in addition to the students and next generation. How did you decide to choose your current career? What made you motivate to make that choice?
Yeah, so in 2014, my son was in high school guidance counselor meeting. I was with him, with other parents, and the counselor said it's never too early to start planning for college. So I have a background in project management and business analysis, and so when I hear this activity, okay, it's not too early to start. Hey, I'm diving in head first, and I'm gathering as much information as I can to help my son accomplish his goals. And one of the goals that we established was we wanted to find a college where he would academically thrive and socially thrive, so that he could do exceptionally well and meet a lot of professors and students that were like-minded and or supporting in the subjects that requirements that he had as it relates to his education. So I spent 2.5 years diving into the analysis of data, and I saw that there was 25 skills that you needed to make an informed 12th grade decision of what you're going to do after. These kids do not have these necessary skills to do that. So that's why I started my business, to help parents and to help their teenagers to make better decisions. And through this podcast, you're going to hear the wisdom and insight that I have to help on this journey. And parents, say to me all the time, I wish I knew you when I was in high school, because I didn't have this know-how to do this activity. In fact, society generally says you have to figure this out by yourself. but I am an analyst. I kibosh that theory. You
Mhm.
don't need to do this by yourself. You can have an incredible support team, a dream team surrounding you to support the activities that you're about to encounter and be exposed to what is really involved to do this the right way and to help you on your journey. Because if you're doing it by yourself and you've never done anything like this before, it is super difficult. There's not a lot of businesses that are running and working today if they didn't
Mhm.
do something before to get that experience. It's like diving into to the deep end and not knowing how to swim. That's not that's nothing that we should be supporting and proposing to anyone. But yet we are in this mindset that the kids are adults and they're going to make their own decisions. Great, but let's give them the information to help them with this
Mhm.
decision. The other challenge is your brain doesn't fully develop until you're 25. So if I were to if I were to visit myself when I was 16 or 15, I would share this important information because my understanding that, what am I going to do now, knowing that my brain's not going to be fully developed? I'm going to surround myself with people older than 25 to get the knowledge and cognitive skills, the reasoning, the rationale, the maturity that I need to make great decisions. So if you already have that knowledge and know-how, and now you're coming up with strategies, and we'll talk about those strategies to
Mhm.
surround yourself with people that you really need to be connected to.
Yes, very exciting. Just like an advisory board, right? You surround yourself in a way. So that's exciting. And yes, your organization has an important mission, and you interact with many different students and parents and families. So in that view, what type of how would you describe the difficulties or challenges, I must say, or what type of what part of your job, more exciting, you will say, that gets you going every single day?
Yeah, it's working with the students directly to share and to uncover the blind spots that they have and share this wisdom with them. And what's really interesting is the words that I use, they understand. It's the strategies that I share with them that they're total blind spots. They didn't think of these things before because they didn't know. They've never done this before. And so
Mhm.
now I'm providing them with so many options. And that's one of the key things that I'd like to share with parents and students is you have so many options. It's overwhelming how many options you have, but you don't discuss and find out what your options are. In order to find out what your options are, you've got to talk to a lot of people because those people could open up doors for you because it's what they know that could help you. But there's one thing that they have to do. The student has to communicate what it is that they're interested in learning more about, what they're interested in doing, what are they interested in learning about, because that's the way you're going to open up doors. Because if you say nothing, who's going to give you options? You got to share what your interests are, what your passion is, because that adult on the other side or that group of people who are surrounding you can help you on your way for those activities, whatever it is, whatever goals you have. Other people can help you. Doing it by yourself is really hard, really difficult. I'm an analyst. I like to squash these common, mythologies of expressions. And the expression I cannot cancel out, and it's totally true, it's who you know. And no matter what like how I try to avoid that,
Mhm.
there's no avoiding it. Somebody's going to hire me, someone's going to pay me, someone's going to be my client. I have to get to know a lot of people. If I don't know a lot of people, I'm not going to get hired. I'm not going to know my options. So it's really a no-win situation. Now, what do they teach you in high school? Don't talk to strangers. Kindergarten, what do they take? Don't talk to strangers. You are losing out on your options. So let me share with you this new expression. Talk to as many professionals as you can. And now with the virtual world, you can talk to anyone virtually, any professional virtually. And your parents won't know how to do this. Why? Because they didn't go to school to learn how to network. They didn't learn how to meet people, how to make friends. There's no classes to how to make friends. There's no classes on networking. You've
True.
got to be surrounded by people who know what they're doing and provide you with incredible insights. But the goal, you have to know people in order to know what your options are. Yes, you can go online and see what your options are and spend all that time. But at the end of the day, you're going to have to meet somebody to make it happen. And because someone's going to interview you. You just
Yes.
can't get a job by just, applying to a job and hoping that you're going to get that salaried offering in an email to say, welcome aboard. Here's your start,
Yes.
and there's your pay. No, no, no. You've got to meet people. You got to talk to people. You got to learn
True.
those skills.
The
So that's
process. Yeah.
thank you for asking that question of the challenge.
Absolutely, absolutely. Great insights. Much appreciated. And that's very exciting. Interacting with as many professionals as possible, learning from them as much as possible. Very important. And it's great to hear it from you and get the insights. And our life is changing. It is because AI is coming in, and AI is becoming parts of our lives in different senses, different ways. This is still the early age. AI is not new. I went to an event before education event. They were talking about the history of AI. It goes all the way back to 1950s. However, nowadays it's more accessible, it's more affordable, it's more practical. So now it's in our life. Speaking of the next generation, so what is your take on AI? How our lives will change? What type of impact we will see of AI moving forward?
Yeah, so AI can be incredibly powerful in the world of education, and it is a game changer. The question for the students and the parents is that what side of the coin is the school on? Are they empowered to take on this activity and go through a trial and error perspective to determine how this is going to work in their school? Or are they saying, or they're pushing back? No, there's no AI in our schools. We're not going to utilize AI in our schools because this is against our rules of utilizing technology to help you with your tests, with your essays, with everything that they assign you. AI could be a leverage tool to use to help you accomplish the questions. But they are against it because you're not necessarily learning if you're just asking the question. Like if they're asking, what's the economy like right now? And then you put that in the question in AI, and then you just copy and paste. That's too easy. And are you really learning? You don't even have to read it, which is not good, right? So there's a
Yes.
education component, and you have to ask yourself, what is it that I want to accomplish? So am I in classes that I don't really am interested in, I may never use in my life? And so AI has the ability to, if educators and administrators are really taking this on and saying, we can do an incredible service to not only the students, but to the parents, to the community, because now we're going to create expertise at the individual level. Imagine the school is focused on individuals. Are you kidding me? No, 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 no. We're old school. It's 30 people in a classroom. You're all going to learn the same exact thing in the same amount of way. No, no. AI could change all that. The question is that teachers, are they able to adapt to be an AI advisor to understand and to be guidance of here's the information that you're interested in, whatever that is. You're interested in the video game industry. There's generally no video game industry class that you'll be taking in high school. However, it can be adapted to fulfill your history requirement. We'd like you to know everything and understand the video game history. And we will be testing you on this. Why? Because AI has the ability to create tests based on the reading that you've done. So, oh my goodness. Now, the question is, why is that important? Oh, did you say you wanted to go into the video game industry? Well, guess what? It's valuable information if you're in front of the people who are interviewing you, that you understand how they got here and where it's going. So, AI could be a huge game changer. And that's just one little example of how educators could use AI to customize and tailor, which is not in their, this is not in their dictionary. Customizing, personalizing, and tailoring education for each student. That's why homeschooling is very attractive, because you can build the own curriculum for your children and you can execute it based on their interest and eager to learn. And you can connect them with professionals who do this for a living. And there's an incredible amount of collaboration that can happen between a professional and a student who is mentored. So AI can be the start of the conversation to improve your education system, but it requires educational leaders to be adaptive and accepting. But what the goal is for high school is to get a high school degree. What does that have to do with anything about your career?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. And so congratulations, they're all focused on you getting a high school degree, their cookie cutter curriculum. It doesn't have to be that way. And that can be the future if the people in charge start doing what's best. Let me say that again. Doing what's best for each student, not what's best, what they think is best, to educate students on this cookie cutter physics, biology, chemistry, which they may never use in their life. It's not practical, and it's not bringing any value to the student when they're not interested in a particular class. This AI can kibosh the mindset of just going through cattle, of going through these 4 years of most of their core classes without the level of interest and eagerness. If schools had 100% students thriving, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
The question is, do they want to improve? This is how you improve.
Yes, I think yeah, that brings my follow-up question. So, well, keeping these insights in mind. So, what are your predictions? Moving forward this year, next year, in terms of job market, economy, how the next generation will see this, and how it's going to be their experience in your point of view.
Yeah. So for the students, the next generation, the job market, your goal is to have as many skills that you enjoy that is valuable in the workforce. So critical thinking is an important skill. If you don't have those critical thinking skills, that's okay. Know a lot of people with critical thinking skills so you can tag them when you need them to fully understand the opportunities that are presented to you, because you're going to face a variety of problems in your workforce. And the question is, are you providing any value? Are you troubleshooting? Are you helping solve those problems? And you want to be helpful. And anywhere you work, if you're not helping somebody, you are probably not going to do well in the workforce. The other thing is you have to adapt. You can't just specifically focus on one skill, because that skill can go away. So for example, writing. Oh my goodness. I've spoken to English teachers. Between 5% to 15% of students enjoy writing. Okay, so the people who know how to write, they are wonderfully in a great position, because they're in the world of communication, they're in the world of marketing, and they're able to modify the language, they're authors. I mean, and there's a lot of writing. Now, AI can write for you, correct your grammar, and now we have 85% of the population who could use AI and now improve their writing. And they don't need somebody. And so now they are less, now their question is, how are they going to do well in this particular economy? So the more skills that they have that they can apply to, this is something that's important for the job market. So the job market is hard because you have to position yourself in a way that you're a subject matter expert in something. So that's why I was talking about the video game industry. If whatever industry it is, there's thousands of industries, there's hundreds of thousands of different jobs. The question is, what is your expertise? You've got to focus on this. This is really important. Even the colleges, they want experts on their campus. If you are an expert in a particular area, obviously if you're niche, which means that not many students know and understand networking. If you are an expert in networking and 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade, and you are actually networking in high school, have an unbelievable advantage. Let me say that again. Because the other students aren't learning networking. You've just carved out a niche for yourself to impress admissions folks and your future employers, because now you are well connected with lots of professionals. But the question is, do you know how to do that? And that's the learning that you'll be doing, either with me, with Kevin, or others who are mentoring you and supporting you to help you with this networking activity. Because once you have that ability, you will have options galore. You will know more people. You will be able to solve more problems because you know more people. And it's personal and professional, where you can lean on them to help them, whatever the challenges or the folks are needing. You'll know somebody.
Absolutely. Networking. That is, I think, bottom line, very important. Also, you mentioned about preparation and preparing for next generation to prepare themselves for their future career path. What is your take on internship and apprenticeship programs?
Yeah, so apprenticeship programs don't get enough publicity. They don't get a lot of conversations, even in guidance counselor offices. They're really, high schools push you to go to college, whether you're ready or not, whether you have the skills necessary or possible. The stats are really sad. 62% of students who go to college will graduate in 6 years. That means 38% are not. The other sad part is only 42% of students are graduating in 4 years, which means that it's a really expensive decision that you're making, and your likelihood is reduced, and they have not set you up for success. So if your goal is to be set up for success for college so that you can improve, so my son was able to graduate with all the degrees in 3 years. Why? Because we planned ahead and we got in front of it to be proactive, to know which college would be a great fit and accept his credits from high school, because he earned a lot of credits in high school. Why? Because he planned ahead and he saved mom and dad a lot of money because he did this activity. So preparation is important. Apprenticeships don't get enough publicity, but imagine you are working for a company and they're training you in the craft that you're doing. Isn't that wonderful? Instead of paying a college up to $90,000 a year to learn academic subjects, which you may not even get a hands-on experience with some of the learning that you're doing, and you are learning a lot of theory, but may not be actually applying them, depending on the curriculum and things like that. But it is something to consider. And that's the thing is, do you know what your options are? Do you know what your interests are? If I just said there's over 10,000 jobs, how are you going to narrow that down? Well, I have a methodology to help with that process, which doesn't take a lot of time. You would think it would take a lot of time, but when you have a methodology to go by that no one has ever shown you how to do, it really helps and saves time. And this is what every student, and this is the other thing, is the agenda of the schools. It's cookie cutter, it's go through the curriculum. Has nothing to do with helping you find out what your interests are. Isn't that the saddest thing? No, here's the list of 40 subjects that you could choose from our school, and 4 of them are English, 4 of them are history, 2 of them are, in all these sciences, but there's not a lot of other subjects that are offered. And so how do you know what you're going to like? So I have a methodology to do that. So apprenticeship programs, there's even one for Gucci. Gucci has an apprentice program. Who knew that Gucci would have an apprentice?
Yes, who knew? That's true.
Yeah. So this is an example of, and especially the trades. They want you to be. They're having a hard time finding, young people, high school graduate students who graduate high school and college graduates to join their apprenticeship programs. So there is absolutely an opportunity there, and that's just one example of knowing your options, because there's hundreds of apprenticeship programs.
Absolutely. So, well, so this is my last and final question. And as we discussed before the podcast, this is $1 million question in a way. And some part of it, most part of it, you answer it, but let's share it with the next generation and our viewers all together. What are your suggestions for the next generation workforce, next generation leaders, when they are choosing their career path and furthering their career path? That's a serious decision. It has steps, but just to put it together in one section as part of my question, what are your suggestions for the next generation when they are choosing their career path and furthering it?
Yeah. So I will share with you, 80% of adults are generally not happy with the career that they selected. 80%. And why is that? Because they didn't explore early in their life to determine what it is that they're passionate about. Can they have found something that they were passionate about and be paid for it? This is something that most adults don't go through. Next generation, you have an opportunity to get ahead of this. You have 8 years of your life to explore a variety of different careers. However, they didn't teach you how to explore careers. And so this is your blind spot. This is your disadvantage. So how are you going to learn how to explore careers? You're going to talk to people like me. You're going to talk to people like Kevin to help you with identifying what subjects, what topics do you get excited about that you want to be an expert in. Going through that list is really important, because you could always go back to that list when you've discovered, and I can't tell you the stories about students going to college thinking, having ideas that they really like this subject, but they really haven't done their diligence and homework to really understand what they were signing up to. So they have visions of psychology, they have visions of accounting, and they start, and then they can't finish. They don't like it. Why? Because they didn't know what they were signing up to. So my wisdom to you is exploring different topics, start digging in, seeing if you like it. If you don't like to read that 25 chapter textbook about a topic, you don't have to. But guess what? Not knowing what that 25 subject textbook is about and only signing up to the class on freshman year and opening that book and saying, this is not for me, that's not a good time to find out. So there's ways to get, and this is the key. In high school, they don't teach you how to be proactive for your life preparation. And so this is how you can be proactive, is to start learning, start connecting with professionals, and learning about the subjects that you are interested in, because then you're surrounding yourself with people who are experts in these subjects that you can go to be mentors. Because You don't know how much power you have. Here's wisdom for next generation. You have power. You can talk to any professional, introduce yourself. Hi, my name is Phil. I'm a 10th grader and I'm interested in engineering. That adult, if they know how to network, will not just answer the question about what they know about engineering, but they'll introduce you to engineers. And now the first day of your life for a career has just started. And the question is, how intrigued are you when you meet with engineers? Do you admire the work that they're doing? Do you like the work they're doing? And you're asking a lot of questions and they're going to tell you. And what's interesting is adults will just take over and just dump information on your lap. And you don't have to say a word if you don't have questions. And that's the other thing I've noticed with next generation. They're not very inquisitive and curious about careers. It's about their future. They've never done this before. I'd rather be doing something else. That's what they're saying to themselves. Now, you tell me otherwise. Please tell me. I started planning for my future in 9th grade. I'd love to hear that. And I'd be so impressed. I admire you for doing that because you are unique. And guess what? You have a huge advantage over all the students who haven't started yet.
Phil, it's been a pleasure. Can you believe it's been 30 minutes? I think we can go for hours. This conversation is great. And I know it's very insightful for next generation, for our followers and listeners as well. I truly appreciate it. So before we end it, how our listeners and followers can get in touch with you and your organization?
Excellent. So I have a website. It's called planningandvision.com. And you could book an appointment with me. Be happy to speak with you for a half hour to see how I can help you accomplish your goals and dreams. And that's and you could also email me at Phil, PHIL, at planningandvision.com.
Thank you very much, Phil. And we'll definitely have a follow-up conversation with the next generation as we discuss. So I'm looking forward to it. Thank you very much. And to our listeners and our followers, thank you very much for your interest and for your support. We are looking forward to having you at our next podcast session. Thank you very much and have a nice day. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Reddit. Do you know the biggest challenge nowadays for American small businesses? That is visibility. That's why we partner with Reddit, Reddit for Business. Reddit has more than 400 million weekly visitors. Furthermore, Reddit is reliable. Reddit is the number one source for real reviews on products, services, and brands. There is a promotion going on. When you spend $500, you'll get $500 in ad credit from Reddit. True story. I am a Reddit user. Anytime I need feedback or review for a product or service, I go to Reddit. I get the real answers, real feedback from real people, from Reddit communities. Scan this QR code and sign up for Reddit advertising for your business. Get the visibility for your company, your products and services. Scan the QR code and sign up today. Thank you for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Brother. From large companies to small offices, Brother has powerful printers and all-in-ones for your growing business. Scan the QR code and find the best printers for your needs. When you scan the QR code, you can see the entire collection, business office equipment collection of Brother USA, and pick the one that you like. You'll find printers, labels, toners, all-in-ones, and other office equipment available on Brother website when you scan the QR code. Scan the QR code and start shopping for Brother office equipment today. Thank you for your support. Support for the show comes from Yelp. I've been talking to more than 100 business owners in the American Business Podcast. Do you know the biggest problem for small businesses nowadays? It is visibility. That is why you should sign up and list your business on Yelp for Business. I have the QR code on the screen, and when you scan the QR code, the form will show up on your screen and you can sign up on the registration form. It comes with free trial with no obligation. Make it easy for your customers to find you. Do you know there are more than 70 million customers visiting Yelp website looking for services from businesses just like yours? Restaurants, home services, professional services, and many other businesses are being searched on Yelp on daily basis. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from iStack. iStack is offering you the latest visuals for your marketing projects, advertising projects, and other projects that need communicative latest visuals. Right now, iStack is offering you 20% discount if you start shopping today. I have the QR code on the screen. When you scan the QR code, you can start your shopping experience with iStack immediately. Whether you are looking for visuals designed by professionals or you are looking for visuals designed by AI, iStack is offering you all these options starting today. Please scan the QR code and start shopping visuals on iStack website. Remember, there is 20% discount when you start shopping today. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Opus Virtual Offices. Opus is offering you more than 600 different locations in the US. It is $99 a month. This includes prestigious business address, professional live call answering, personalized call transferring, business phone number, local phone number, professional mail services, voicemail converted to email. I have the QR code on the screen. You can sign up for Opus today. Opus is offering you hundreds of locations in the US that you can pick, any of them that you like, and you can start having your virtual office today. Please scan the QR code and start using Opus Virtual Offices today. Thank you for your support. I hope you enjoyed this special review, especially the first part that we had the conversation with Phil Veltrano was actually very, very informative. And he emphasized networking and the importance of networking, especially for next generation business professionals, being out there, meeting, communicating with other business professionals, learning from them, and start building a professional ecosystem is critical. And from this point of view, that's why we created Connection America Business Alliance. It is designed for business professionals to connect online. And in the American Business Podcast, we share these informative educational content with you, with business professionals, today's and next generation business professionals. And in addition to talking about this important subject, we also like to take action. That is why this networking plus podcasting event is very helpful and highly recommended. We organize these networking plus podcasting event monthly basis. We call these Connection America or CABA. And the good thing about these event is, and also it's a unique point of view, is while you are networking with other business professionals online, you are also on the American Business Podcast in front of thousands of the American Business Podcast viewers and listeners. That's what makes it unique. And we have limited seating. If you are interested in joining this online networking event, you can scan this QR code and sign up and join us. Our next online networking event is scheduled for January 26th, and we are meeting at 10 a.m. Eastern. We start, it takes about 1 hour and a half. During this time, you can introduce your company, your products and services, and you can also meet with other business professionals during these online business networking event. Pretty cool event. I'm sure you'll like it, and I hope you join us. It's the QR code on the screen. When you scan the QR code, you can sign up, and I hope you join us. Well, let's continue our review. So, as I mentioned during our conversation with Phil, and the important part of that episode was actually that was our first episode. We actually streamed that on February 28, 2025, this year. And it was informative. Phil is a great supporter for next generation business professionals. As you could tell from his passion, he's very excited. It's coming from his heart. And the insights that he shared during that first episode of the American Business Podcast is very practical. Not only for next generation business professionals, also it's applicable for today's business professionals. Networking and being open minded and keep learning. These are really fundamental practices that any business professional must have. In that sense, it was an informative business podcast episode, and I hope you like it. Now, I like to get your attention, and I like you to think about American manufacturing. And in the American Business Podcast, we support, we promote, and uplift American businesses, nonprofits, and American manufacturers. That's why the episode that I like to highlight right now is very important. And we can focus on American manufacturing, the importance of American manufacturing, the state of American manufacturing, and what type of challenges and opportunities are there in American manufacturing nowadays. Let's take a look and we'll continue our conversation in the American Business Podcast 2025 Year in Review Special Edition today. Coming up. Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you for connecting and welcome to the American Business Podcast for the next generation. I'm Kevin Deveci, your host, and today we are with Eric Giampoli, and he's the guru of manufacturing that I always call him. He has a lot of background, a lot of insight about manufacturing, and as our goal in our podcast is to share wisdom and insight with the next generation. I'm sure, I'm confident that Eric has a lot of experience and insight to share with next generation workforce and next generation leaders. Eric, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to join.
Thank you very much. I'm excited for this conversation and looking forward to learning from you today and help you share your wisdom with our audience and our followers. So, for our listeners and audience, would you please introduce yourself and your company?
So my name is Eric Ciampoli. I founded a company called Eric Ciampoli Industrial Consultants. We help manufacturers around the tri-state area of New York improve their operations, as well as training their employees, redesigning their facilities, relocating their facilities, expanding and automating, and everything in between to provide the most effective cost solution for making goods here in a very expensive place.
Yes, absolutely. I know you are working with manufacturers on daily basis very closely. You see their challenges. You also learn from them. You also help them improve their business processes. It's very exciting. And when you look at your career, what did you make that decision? What did make you choose this career?
Well, I tell people, when I tell people the honesty, it's like I didn't get along with my boss, so I wanted to go do things myself. He said no too much, and I didn't like no. So I started my own business, helping customers expand. I actually started working with our supply chain at a business I was working at and helping them improve their operations after hours, which helped our business because now their on-time delivery improved. I I chose it too because I really like to share knowledge and teach people the things that I've learned because I've never been afraid to experiment. So I bring that experience of my tests gone well and some gone bad on what works and what doesn't work in an organization.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And I understand you see different challenges when you work with different manufacturers.
Yeah.
From this point of view, what are the challenging parts and exciting parts of your job, of your career?
Challenging parts are we can have great ideas, and those great ideas may be fantastic, but getting people to adopt change is really critical. Doesn't matter what the idea is if no one will adopt it, good or bad. And sometimes you need more of a commitment than you need a good idea in order to change your organization. So sometimes these resistance come from leadership because they're afraid to try something that may not work as planned. And so they become a little bit paralyzed and too much homeostasis. Change is good, it's not bad. So the challenging points are really is like how comfortable is the customer with change? If you're open to it, we can try great things and improve your organization. But if you don't change anything, we can't improve either.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, the change management, right,
Mm,
requires a leader, and you are part of that process, and you witness
yes,
the
and
mechanics of it.
repetition, absolute repetition. You got to say the same message over and over again and do not waver from it. And as long as you keep that consistent, people will start to believe the leadership. If you keep changing your recipe, no one believes anything you say.
Yes, that's an amazing insight.
Hmm.
Um, so, well, you experience different challenges with manufacturers. You help them improve their processes. Also, you observe the U.S. manufacturing,
Hmm.
and U.S. manufacturing is very important for our country, for our economy. And when it comes to U.S. manufacturing, every decision counts, right? So that's very
Yes.
important. From this point of view, how do you see the U.S. manufacturing and also in the region? So you work with manufacturers in New Jersey, in New York
Hmm.
metro area, as well as nationally. So how do you see the state of manufacturing, and also how they are evolving and what they should do to adapt to changing market? I know these, there are a lot to unpack here, but I'm gonna let take your time to
Mm.
address the current status of manufacturing in US and in the region.
Th- There are a list of things to cover here.
Yes.
I would say the current state of manufacturing is it's very healthy. There's a lot of demand for products that are made in our area. So the lack of demand does not exist like people think. There's lots of things going on. We make some amazing things that support a huge range of both government, military, consumer base. Everything's here in the tri-state area. You can find anything you want. You just got to look for it. Oh, I think right now there's a few headwinds for manufacturers that I've been trying to get some attention on, like the cost of rent. Right now, the current state of manufacturing is, yeah, the sales are healthy, but the cost of rent and insurance and taxes are really making it difficult for not only for them to maintain where they're at, but expansion becomes even more difficult. To add 100,000 square feet to grow your business, it's a scary undertaking. So there's lots of sales demand. There's some headwinds with the real estate cost. There's also headwinds with the availability of resources. Getting laborers on the island is becoming more and more challenging because of the cost of living. We're having the similar problems in New Jersey. The trade winds have shifted a little bit, as you see in the media. So the availability of general labor, especially in food, it's critical because a machine can't do everything. Automation is not applicable to everything in your manufacturing business. So some companies are evolving and they're offsetting some of this with adding automation where it works. Some of them were consolidating their facilities so that we can expand new products in the space that we save, so we don't have to lease more space, which is a good way to conserve cash. We're expanding different types of roles where, hey, I can't find this types of tech people, so we're working together to outsource some of those things with another group that I run, where we're offsetting that availability of staff. Like upstate New York is having this big challenge. There's only a small population in your neighborhood, and manufacturing, some of the stuff is commutable. You got to come to the office. Other things can be done remotely. So we're shifting things wherever it needs to go in order to staff that company so they can grow. You know, so there's been a lot of adaptation to remote work, hybrid work, automation, rethinking how we do things. We got to be more frugal with the space that we have. We can't just spread out. And some cases it's easy to do. Other ones are far more challenging, right? Expanding or consolidating in food is a lot more restricting than a warehouse or just general manufacturing, where you can pop a tent in the yard for a couple months and make some products and then take it down when the winter comes. Can't always do that with food.
Yes, absolutely. Also, as a follow-up, we know supply chain issues is a top priority for manufacturers. So what type of measures are manufacturers are taking nowadays to stabilize the supply chain, and as well as to manage the cost?
Oh, this one gives me personal chest pains because it's such a big issue right now. Like, it gives me like a little shortness of breath because two things are happening. You can't get things, so you have to buy more at a time. And then when you have to buy more, you need more space. And so warehouses are filling up with stuff just in case I need it. And the supply chain in some cases has stabilized, but other things are still uncertain. And so you buy as much as you can when you can get it, and price becomes secondary concern, which is a big issue in manufacturing, because as all of you know, in manufacturing, it's not huge margins. If you have big price increases on your supply side, that affects your bottom line like tomorrow, not in 3 months, it's tomorrow. And it's becoming a very high focal point area for manufacturers is who can I bring into my supply chain network? Who's already here? How can we improve delivery? And where am I going to put it?
Yes, these are critical questions to be addressed. Absolutely. Another challenge that we know in manufacturing is the talent acquisition and talent retention. In this sense, especially skilled workforce, right? Very important for manufacturing. How can institutions such as community colleges, universities, how can they close the gap, you think? What is your take on that?
They're starting to do it now, although it feels like it's a little bit late. We're seeing more tech centers pop up to teach students welding, CNC machining, basic reading and creations of technical drawings, things that are not available in high school education. It would be nice to see high schools adopt it, and you have an option like you used to back in my day. You could take wood shop and learn how to make things. Like maybe take like a tech shop where you learn how to make an engineering drawing and how to use AutoCAD and maybe how to weld. I use it sometimes at home. I got a little welder, and sometimes you need it. And having the ability and the access to that talent, it's important. I think that the community colleges, they're doing a decent job. I wouldn't mind see more of an expansion. We need more women in the workforce that join this. Some of the best welders I've ever met were women. They're far more patient.
Yes, absolutely.
Very, very small welds. It's not it takes patience, not brute force, to do really good welding. And it'd be great to see a collaboration of men and women in high school engaging in these manufacturing activities. We need the people. If you're interested in making things, there's plenty of opportunities all throughout the tri-state area to put that excitement and your passion to work.
Absolutely. And so in addition to the supply chain as well as the skilled workforce, what trends do you see, do you foresee for high-tech manufacturing in the region and in the nation? And how can manufacturers can position themselves for these technologies?
Well, it's happening right now. 3 years ago, I'd have conversations about automating a warehouse, and people would laugh at me. It's like, why would I do that? I can get 10 guys. And well, now the conversations are, how fast do you think I could get it? Because you can't just post a job on the front of the building and get 20 applicants to work in your warehouse anymore or in your facility. Never mind the skilled labor, just general labor market is becoming scarce. So the conversations about adoption of tech and automation, they're far more prominent than they once were years back. So the conversations are shifting towards, you know, how cheap can I do it, to how much capacity do you think we can get from this investment? And it's changing the way warehouses are designed. I'm starting to work with more vendors from around the world to do completely lights out warehouses where two operators are picking and no one's walking up and down aisles. The little bots are moving thing and bringing those items to the picker. So product to pick instead of pick to product. It really dramatically changes the demand for your workforce, because now you can pick all the orders in a day that would require 10 people with just 2, maybe 3. And the conversations are becoming more advanced. And how do we use this technology, how fast, and how do we expand it? Because every business needs to plan for whatever you're doing today plus the next 10 years. You cannot plan yourself into a corner thinking that this will be the forever solution. And that's where automation sometimes gets a bad rap. Customers will, hey, I need to automate this one job, let's automate it. And I'm like, well, how else can we utilize this technology and make it as flexible as possible so that you can take your investment and expand it to anything that might show up, or as much as possible, without, scope creep into oblivion, which I'm sure you're familiar with, Kevin, in the tech field. The scope could never end if you let it. So what can we use technology for so that we can get the most out of it now, tomorrow, and 10 years in the future? Because these investments are not cheap. They're a lot. You need to plan for the future, not just for today. And these conversations have been a lot of fun, because it's very exciting to see this shift. Not that I want to put, millions of dollars into everyone's automated warehouse, but the reality is here. If I need 10 people to pick and I can only get 2, there are orders that aren't going to ship.
True.
And that's a real problem for the business and for the customer. If you stop shipping on time, your customers find someone that will. You don't want to be that third choice when someone else failed. You want to be the first choice because you're always on time. And it's a real live everyday issue for every manufacturer in our community, is where do I get the staff? How do I improve? My sales are growing, but how do I facilitate it so I don't fail in the process? I was having a conversation yesterday with a startup food company. The broker is so excited about their products, and she's sitting there on the other side of the table just worried about, if I get a big order, what's going to happen? And I'm like, well, we're not there yet. We're preparing for that. But her fear was failure. And customers that are 10, 20 years in business are starting to have those same thoughts. Is, if I'm successful, when this order comes through, how am I going to deliver it? How is my supply chain going to follow up and fulfill my needs so that I can fulfill the customer's needs? And it's an exciting time, because there's opportunities and technology there that is not as expensive as it once was. And it's readily available from a lot of different competitors. So you can push on each one to get the best technology that they're good at it and integrate it into your manufacturing facility. And a great place to start is in simple, mundane tasks. You can't automate everything, but if you can take automation and you can apply it to a person so that you can make a person twice as productive, you're winning.
Yes, that's critical. Also, how about AI? So, well, in some form, we are all experiencing AI nowadays in our lives, in our businesses. It's more accessible than before, more affordable than before, more practical than before. I like to learn your take on AI, how AI will change our lives and our businesses. You can also, craft it from a manufacturing point of view as well, if you like.
Yeah. So AI is changing even the way I run my business. I'm an engineer by trade. I'm not an English major or a novelist. So I use the technology to rewrite things that I'm writing in my proposals, and as well as emails, to say, hey, I want this to sound better, but I don't want to spend time working on this. So I let AI give me a better version of what I want to say that sounds better. So I'm using it, and I've adopted it. We're using it for graphics. We're using it for basic, graphic design elements. We're using it for general things. In the manufacturing world, I'm seeing it used a lot for planning and some of these critical tasks that are starting to adopt it. It's quite exciting, because it gives you, it's not 100% reliable yet, but it does help quickly open your perspective to the things that you're engaging with day to day and help give you a very quick answer on how else could I approach this planning scenario to get all these things done with the inventory that I have. And they're integrating it everywhere. You see it rolling out now in software systems like the ones you work with. It's embedded. So it's, some customers they're, oh, I don't need that AI, and I'm like, well, let's try it. It's like, how does it work? And you see it does some nice stuff. There's usually a few individuals in the organization that can't wait to see what's next, and then you have some that are like, oh, no, we don't need that, we don't use that here. You've got these two extreme ends inside the same organization fighting, oh, we don't need it, on and versus, oh, I want it tomorrow. It will help me do my job better. I see it more and more. It's changing the way businesses think. It's changing the way businesses operate. It's changing the way the employees spend their time. And it may sound like like the Department of Labor wouldn't really like the fact that you don't need more people to do the same thing, but a manufacturing organization is certainly excited to know that I don't need to keep adding headcount to do the same amount of work, as these mundane tasks are being automated in our everyday lives, and ERP systems and email systems, even order management systems. It's working great. And, hey, AI, give me a report on my inventory. What's the average turns? Okay. And then bam, there you go. Wow. I'm not an accountant by any means either. And I use these tools to analyze financial statements very quickly versus me having to go back to my textbook and pull out all the things that I learned 20 years ago. And it gives me ratios and things like that. It's exciting because I don't have the time to spend on that, yet I need the data. And I see customers in manufacturing and distribution using it on a regular basis. Some of the AI technologies I've seen for mapping and routing for deliveries is really fascinating. Like, a lot of people use Waze. This is Waze on steroids, where it can map your delivery routes in a way that also accommodates for traffic patterns. And as we all know, in New York City, the traffic patterns can be quite extreme. And so being ahead of it by an hour is a really big advantage to get back to headquarters to finish your day.
Yes, good points. Absolutely. And I like to actually also see what your predictions are for this year and coming years for manufacturing. How it's going to be?
Oh, I think manufacturing is going to continue to grow. I think it's going to be a great career opportunities for engineers and people that like to make things. Because as much as we want to say the world is global, there still are things that need to be done in our backyard. Like the building supply industry is going to stay local. It doesn't make sense to truck materials all the way around the world. The local workforce for food is going to continue to grow. And as it's been growing tremendously since COVID, my busiest sector right now is related to food packaging, food production, and food transportation. And it's been busier and busier every year. And I see that more and more businesses are going to adopt more advanced ERP systems, as there's still a number out there that are lagging behind with 20-year-old software. Like, as you know, Kevin, some of them are on the original versions of Sage after 25 years. I met a client the other day that's on a 28-year-old version of Macola. Yeah. And so these upgrades are going to change the way these manufacturers operate. It's going to bring them into the 22nd century and open their eyes to the way to do business. I think the job market's going to grow in that area too, supporting these changes, and process improvement is key. So I think, and I've just this past week, there's been a lot of inquiries on lean manufacturing and process change, because real estate's getting more expensive, which means you need to use what you have more efficiently in order to sustain as well as thrive. And I see it continuing. So advancements in careers of change management, lean manufacturing, information systems that supports manufacturing, it's going to continue to grow, and this job market will continue to grow, and as well as the general people in the factory that are not just going to be doing tasks, but they're going to be running these automated machines. They're going to be supporting them. So I see a growth in the need for more advanced mechanics. We've launched a program that throughout New Jersey for training in PLCs, because many mechanics on the job 10 years, they don't know how to write the code to maintain the machine. So they debug by just changing parts, but that's not necessarily the way to fix it. So job markets for technical support for automated machinery, automation engineers, information structure engineers, general laborers in manufacturing will also increase, but you won't just be general anymore. You'll be running a $500,000 piece of machinery that's providing the business value and the customer's value. It's not picking things up and putting them down anymore. That those markets have shifted to more advanced manufacturing. So I see it continuing the same way as I've been seeing it over the past 5 years, ramping up. When you work in a warehouse, you're likely to be pressing more buttons now than carrying boxes and driving a forklift around.
Yes, no doubt. Ramping up. So that's definitely a positive outlook in that sense.
Yeah. And the number one joke everybody makes is, after you make it more efficient, when we're not walking around the warehouse, is everyone going to get a gym membership? Because now they're not walking 10 miles a day. They're standing in one place. And I say, well, the gym membership is on you. And what you do after work is on you. So sure, you want to go to the gym? Sure. But I don't think that has anything to do with your day-to-day job in the warehouse, where you don't have to climb ladders anymore.
That's true. Yeah, that's a great point. As you know, our most important mission in this podcast is to share wisdom and insights with the next generation workforce, next generation leaders coming up. And in that sense, what do you think about internships and apprenticeship programs for next generation to consider?
I think they're fantastic. I've reached out to my local community, but we haven't had any takers on how we do things from the local college, Stevens, where I am, and also the local high school in Bergen County, where I am in New Jersey. But I think these apprenticeships and programs to get younger people engaged in manufacturing is critical, because it's not something you see advertised. Hey, join a career in manufacturing and make things. You see a lot of Amazon promotions to be an Amazon driver, an Uber driver, all these other things. But there is a real need to, I don't want to say glamorize, but at least make it aware that, you know, there's still a market for you to grow a career in this field. It doesn't have to be, you know, a packer. It can be someone that's supporting automation technologies. It can be an engineer designing these facilities. It can be a production manager trying to get the most efficiency out of his assets and his business so that he can deliver on time. It's really important that we make more and more people aware of what's really going on in the world of manufacturing in America. It's not just what you see on the news. There's a whole lot more going on there. And I'm in it every day, and I see all the different things, exciting stuff, how the world is changing. And sometimes it's stressful and sometimes it's exciting, but there's a lot going on here. And I think the more that we can make it known that there's a great opportunity here, it's not everything's coming from China and overseas. There's a lot of things being made here, and it's exciting, and it's a great career field. And apprenticeships are key in order to staff this for long term, because we can't put a robot on everything. It's just, I mean, in 20 years, I'll be called a liar, but right now, I can't put a robot to do everything that a person can do. Maybe in 20 years, I'll be proven wrong, but right now, I can automate a lot of repetitive tasks, but I can't automate everything, especially complex shapes and assembly. You need a person to put that together. And these jobs pay well, and the benefits are great, and the environments of the working conditions are fantastic. You're not working in a cave like people see in these coal mine videos, or the videos from the Industrial Revolution where there's no lights and no heat. Like, they don't look like that anymore. They're advanced manufacturing facilities with LED lighting, painted floors, air conditioning, water coolers, and break rooms with TVs and pizza parties and celebrations. They're fantastic places to work, and some are better than others, but it's a great field. I want to see more apprenticeship programs. Some of the ones that were launched years ago had a kind of a hard start in New Jersey. They were late adopted, so the interest kind of died off before it really got moving. But it'd be great to see more of it. I think it's essential, bringing young people and even fresh graduates from engineering and other technical aspects into these apprenticeship programs, or while they're in school, like I did at Wentworth. We had mandatory co-ops, or you didn't graduate. So I did 4 of them, and 2 were mandatory. I learned a lot in the field about how manufacturing worked and manufacturing in America and what it really looks like. Things that you don't see the things that you don't see on TV.
Yes, yes, and how important it is. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Oh, it's critical.
Well, we are almost completing our time. We've been talking almost 30 minutes. Hard to believe, right? Time flies, and it's very exciting. So one of the questions that I like to ask you and hear your insights is for the next generation. What are your suggestions for the next generation workforce, next generation leaders when they are choosing their career path and furthering their career paths?
Focus more on your soft skills and selling than just being the smartest person in the room. Because you can be the smartest person in the room and everyone disagree with everything you say because you don't know how to sell it. So a key feature I learned many years ago is it's called keep the boss happy. You need to tell the boss what he wants to hear so his boss is happy, which makes him happy. And the better you sell this on any idea or on things that you want to do to change an organization, you have to start with yourself and how you're going to present this idea in a way that it's going to be received in a way that you want to be understood. So selling to your boss is critical. You can learn a million skills, but they will mean nothing if no one agrees with what you're trying to do. The pitch it doesn't have to be perfect, but you need to present. I'm not asking for something. I'm providing you an opportunity for the organization to thrive. And here's how I see this vision coming into reality. I've actually integrated these things into my lean teaching courses where we do the how to keep the boss happy as a side note to every context, because we come up with great ideas all the time, but if you don't sell it right, it just dies like many other great ideas. So learn how to sell. Learn how to sell your ideas, learn how to sell yourself. Otherwise you'll get overlooked because you won't get valued the same way that you deserve to be, because you need to present yourself in a way that makes you marketable and easy to communicate with and also well understood.
Absolutely. Managing up. Yes, definitely. Well, great insights, Eric. Thank you very much. So before we end our podcast session, how our followers and listeners can reach out to you? Mails, that.
Oh, you can find me on the internet. Just type my name, Eric Ciampoli. I come up in a lot of different places. It's www.ecicconsulting.com.
Eric, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure, and I'm sure for the next generation, it's been very insightful and helpful. Thank you very much for sharing your wisdom with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure. Thank you very much. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Reddit. Do you know the biggest challenge nowadays for American small businesses? That is visibility. That's why we partner with Reddit for Business. There are more than 440 million visitors weekly on Reddit. Furthermore, Reddit is reliable and millions of users are going to Reddit to get the real feedback from real people. It is the number one source for real reviews on products, services, and brands. There is a promotion going on that I'd like you to consider and take advantage of. When you spend $500 on Reddit for advertising, you'll get $500 in advertising credit. True story. I am a Reddit user, and anytime I like to have feedback or review for a product or service, I go to Reddit and I talk to Reddit communities. I get the real feedback and real review from real people and real communities. Scan this QR code and sign up for Reddit advertising. Get the visibility for your company, for your products and services on Reddit with Reddit advertising. Reach people ready to buy your products and services with Reddit advertising. Scan the QR code and sign up today. Thank you for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from YZ. At the American Business Podcast, we always talk about continuous improvement, and professional development. That is why we partner with Wyzen, trust the nation's largest network for tutoring. Wyzen helps you find the tutor that you need in many different subjects: chemistry, computer, foreign languages, geometry, English, music, physics, reading, SAT, science, and many more. I have the QR code on the screen that you can sign up and start searching for tutors and enjoy the learning experience and continuous improvement, as we always talk about in the American Business Podcast. Scan the QR code and sign up for Wyzen today. Thank you very much. Support for the show comes from Yelp. You know, I've been talking to more than 100 business owners in the American Business Podcast. Do you know the biggest problem for small businesses nowadays? It is visibility. That is why you should sign up and list your business on Yelp for Business. I have the QR code on the screen, and when you scan the QR code, the form will show up on your screen and you can sign up on the registration form. It comes with free trial with no obligation. Make it easy for your customers to find you. Do you know there are more than 70 million customers visiting Yelp website looking for services from businesses just like yours? Restaurants, home services, professional services, and many other businesses are being searched on Yelp on daily basis. That's a great opportunity. If you list your business on Yelp, you'll be findable, searchable, and you'll be visible. When you are visible, when your customers are able to find you, you're in business. You can get opportunities, you can get leads, you can build a healthy and profitable pipeline. Consider Yelp for Business. Scan the QR code, sign up, and start your free trial. It comes with free trial. Very comfortable, no obligation. List your business and start getting the results and enjoy the benefits of Yelp Business. Thank you for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Anywhere Apps by Kerr Consulting, now Cherry Becker. Anywhere Apps are designed to help you digitize and automate your business processes. Anywhere Apps are a family of business software products. There are more than 40 products available for business process digitization and automation. Anywhere's apps are easy to use, they are standalone, and they are also ready to integrate with your ERP and accounting software systems. Today, I'd like to promote APS Anywhere, which is part of Anywhere Apps software product portfolio. APS Anywhere, designed for manufacturing companies. Whether you are a process manufacturing company, food and beverage, chemical, and more, or a discrete manufacturing company, automotive, aerospace, electronics, and more. APS stands for Advanced Planning and Scheduling. APS Anywhere is ready to streamline, digitize, and automate your production planning process. As you know, in manufacturing, production planning is not easy. There are always some bottlenecks and challenges. You need to put together your resources, 3M, man, machine, and material. APS Anywhere designed to streamline this process and automate it for you. It is a modern system. It runs on cloud. It also has deployment options for installation on your server or your private cloud environment. The system is scalable. It comes with unlimited number of production planning scenarios, meaning before you execute, you can see the financial implications and timing of your production planning on APS Anywhere. APS Anywhere comes with a very colorful and easy-to-use Gantt chart so that you can see your production planning on a colorful and easy-to-operate Gantt chart before you finalize your production planning purposes. The system is also integratable. It is ready to integrate your ERP system, MRP system, and other systems whenever there is a need. It is designed for manufacturing companies by manufacturing experts. It also comes with ready-made reports if you like to utilize. Furthermore, on APS Anywhere, we can also use demand forecasting function, meaning based on your past manufacturing and sales figures, the system can predict what will be your demand in the future. This will help you manage your supply chain in a more productive manner. I have the QR code on the screen. You can scan the QR code and you can learn more about APS Anywhere as well as Anywhere App software system in general. There is more. I have a direct line for you. You can send me a direct email, kevin@perconsulting.com. kevin@perconsulting.com, and I'll be happy to hear from you about Anywhere apps, APS Anywhere, or any Anywhere apps that is offered by Anywhere apps by Kerr Consulting, now Cherry Baker. Thank you for your support. Great. Well, when it comes to American manufacturing, there are many different subjects that we need to cover: technology, change management, and team management. In that particular episode, we talk about American manufacturing and their challenges in general. One of the subjects that actually Eric focused on was change management and how to manage change internally by repetition of the message that you like to motivate the team on. And another message was about technology and utilizing AI. Nowadays, American manufacturers, they have modern production environments. It's not what it used to be as per Eric's description. These are modern facilities with clean working environment, with good benefits as well as good paying opportunities. So that's a great career to consider moving forward, working in an American manufacturing environment, American manufacturing industry. Without internships and apprenticeship programs and their importance. As you may remember in the previous review that we talked about internship programs as well with Phil Vetrano, and for the next generation to prepare themselves and get connected with current professionals, networking and internship programs are very important. It is also the same for manufacturing as well. When it comes to manufacturing, in addition to internship programs, we also see and hear about the importance of apprenticeship programs, where you can actually be part of an apprenticeship program and hands-on, you can get certain skills. So welding and other skills can be obtained during these apprenticeship programs so that you can have a hands-on knowledge and experience, and you will be hired quicker in the marketplace in American manufacturing in the American manufacturing industry. So he also talked about communication skills in Eric's section, that episode that we talk about how to have communication with our team members as well as superiors, how to position a project, how to position a new technology that you believe that is going to be helpful for the organization. That communication skills, that presentation skills are also very important to develop and practice in American manufacturing industry and any career in American manufacturing industry. So, as we always say in the American Business Podcast, American manufacturing is very important. That is the backbone of U.S. economy. Right now, about 600,000 American manufacturers are operating actively in the U.S. So that's an important industry, and it's growing, and it has also a lot of benefits for the next generation to be part of American manufacturing industry. Well, I like to get your attention to team building. In any organization, acquiring talent as well as retaining talent is very important. And one of the episodes we talk about how to build team spirit and team building activities. So for that, let's review our episode and let's talk about how to build a team and techniques to build a team. So for that, we had an episode with Jesse Puddle, and he talked about his company, how they are helping organizations build teams and fundamentals of building teams in any industry. So let's review the episode and we'll continue our conversation. Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to the American Business Podcast for the next generation. I'm Kevin Deveji, your host. Today, I'm excited to welcome Jesse Puddles from Spot Corp Events. Let's welcome Jesse to our podcast. Jesse, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Kevin.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Yes, you made it. We all made it. That's great.
Yes, we did it.
Feeling good. Feeling good. Yes. So let's get started if that's okay. Yes, I love the energy. Much appreciated.
Yes,
So that's good. So let's get started. Well, as a start, would you please introduce yourself and your company to our audience and to our followers?
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, everyone. My name is Jesse Puddles. I am the CEO and founder of Spot Corp Events. We do team building and employee engagement through theater and storytelling. At the crux of what we do is the understanding that stories are the core of everything in business. Stories are how we make sales, they're how we market, they're how we do everything. But they're also how we connect. We use theater and storytelling to create real bonds by understanding the stories of yourself and your colleagues.
Jesse, thank you. Let's shift it towards your career journey. So, how did you get started? You are an entrepreneur. You are the head of the company. That's very exciting. Congratulations. So,
Thank you.
please tell us about it. How did you start? How is the story, please?
Yes, absolutely. So, Kevin loves this word, so I will start by saying that I am an unexpected entrepreneur. So, I
That's
started
good.
my entrepreneur journey how everyone starts their entrepreneur journey. I had a fight with a roommate. No, but that's really what happened. It was the middle of the pandemic. I had a fight with a roommate. I had nowhere to feel my feelings or express myself. I couldn't go to a friend's, and I ended up having a moment where I performed in an empty parking lot for no one. And I've been a performer my whole life, but this was different. This was this catharsis and this release and this realization that there is some value in performing for yourself. It's why we love singing in our car or getting on stage and doing karaoke with our friends. There's something about it, and I wanted to bottle that. And so I created an experience for consumers that would bottle that experience, would allow people to be seen, heard, and valued for their own stories. And originally, it was just supposed to be a consumer event. And then what happened was that we would have these events, and then people would stay at the event 3, 4 hours after they were over. They were becoming best friends and they were becoming roommates. And I was like, what's happening? You people didn't know each other before. And one day, someone said, why don't you have anything like this for work? And I thought about it and I realized what was happening. We were creating what's called psychological safety, which basically means people feel comfortable sharing openly, they feel comfortable taking risks, and they feel comfortable in an environment where they don't have to be perfect. They can make mistakes. And I realized that this program is directly transferable to creating community in business. If you've ever been in a meeting where you were sitting there and there was a leader who was maybe talking and not saying anything particularly unsafe, but you were worried to speak up. You were worried you might be wrong. You were worried. It means that your space didn't have psychological safety. We create environments where you get to practice having and overcoming those feelings so that when it's a real meeting, when it's a real moment, you're like, oh, I rapped in front of my coworkers. I can absolutely speak up and add my opinion to this topic that we're talking about. And what we know from business is that it's that speaking up that leads to the strongest teams because research shows that the greatest ideas happen when everyone gets to bring their own individual expertise or their own story to the room. And so that is how I became an accidental entrepreneur. And also because of my background in uh, leadership and professional development, which I can go into later, it was the perfect fit for me.
That's amazing. It's exciting, and I love the energy. Well,
you.
so when you look at your job, your business, what are the challenging and exciting parts of your day-to-day work?
Challenges. Being a business owner is easy. Never had a challenge. No, of course not. There are so many wonderful challenges. I think that the biggest challenge that we face is helping people understand that even though our concept is novel, our foundation is founded in the structural science of what makes team building so special. So, again, like I said before, we are team building through theater and storytelling. And while people love the idea of that, people are always nervous to try something new. People are like, will this actually have impact? Will I actually see? Because engagement is at a 10-year low. Retention challenges right now are very high, and people are looking for solutions that work. And what I found with our solution, especially when it comes to team building, is that it is basically generational proof. So the thing that often happens with a lot of these team building initiatives and things like that is that if you bring in a speaker who does something really academic and heady and intelligent, it's probably going to appeal, and we're speaking generally, to your Gen X and your baby boomers who are looking for tangible access to facts. Then you've got millennials, you've got my generation that loved like a cocktail hour, or like just getting to communicate or spend time, or play laser tag or do something with their business colleagues. And then you have Gen Z who, as a community, want to really feel like they're being heard, want to really feel like they're connecting, want to really feel like their ideas are being listened to. Our program hits all three of those needs. We back everything that we do with research backed practices so that your Gen X and your baby boomers are like, oh, why did I just play with puppets? Okay, great. Well, it lowered your cortisol levels, which reduced your stress, which inherently have actually transformed your relationship with work and stress. And they go, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. And then your millennials get the experience of like, oh, we're gonna like play games and tell stories and like potentially like rap or dance or sing. Okay, that's scary, but I'm in. That sounds fun. It sounds silly. It sounds like we're gonna have a good time. And then you have your Gen Zs who are like, oh, we're gonna actually get to open up and share our ideas, our thoughts, our feelings. We're interested. We want to be heard. We want to speak up. And so we're really generational proof, which also makes it a challenge because you need to explain, because they're like, okay, which group do you hit? And the answer is all of them.
Yes, well, actually, you just mentioned earlier about employee engagement. Why employee engagement is important for businesses, manufacturers, or businesses in general?
Yeah, absolutely. So the key reason that employee engagement is important is because you get the best work out of your employees when they're engaged. If you have an employee who's disengaged, and but they're not in trouble, they're not like doing bad, they're going to give you exactly what you ask for. They're not going to innovate, they're not going to try to do more, they're not going to ask for additional work, they're not going to push themselves further. And so basically what you're getting is the equivalent of a paper pusher until they either realize they're so disengaged that they leave, and then they're costing your business thousands of dollars on average. To lose an employee, it costs about 1/3 of their yearly salary. So if you've got a $60,000 employee, every time an employee is disengaged enough to leave, you just lost $18,000, and that's for one employee. So on the retention side, it is paramount. And then even if you have these people in, then they're not adding anything to the business. They're not adding anything new. So they're basically a placeholder. Whereas if you have an engaged employee, they're going to present new ideas which maybe could improve your business. They're going to speak up on their team, and they're going to challenge in a politeful and respectful way their leaders' ideas, providing new and interesting concepts to them that can only elevate everyone's ideas. And they are going to bolster the entire team. When you have a disengaged employee, you are slowly going to see the team around them become disengaged because they're going to be like, well, Johnny doesn't have to do it. We know Johnny like only does 10% of the work that we're doing. And then we don't want to do it. Okay. Well, now you've got two disengaged employees, and then someone's mad at that employee, and then you've got three. And before you know it, you have an entire team that's disengaged just because Johnny didn't like his work. So get them with engagement by getting the whole group together. And the other thing, and this is a number one key thing, is that 70% of people leave because they don't feel connected to their leader. Not because they don't like their job, because they don't feel connected to and cared for by their leader. Doing programs like Spot Corp, where your leader really gets to show you how much you mean to them and how special you are, can transform your retention. It can transform all your Johnnies, and it can lead to innovation.
Yeah, that's very exciting. Well, I like to shift our conversation towards AI a little bit. So we ask this question to our guest in each episode, and I like to share this with you as well. Well, AI is here to stay. That's how it looks. We utilize AI on daily basis in our business, also individually in our lives as well. What is your take on AI? How it's going to change our lives as well as businesses? Also in your industry as well, employee engagement type of events. What is your take on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So AI as a whole, I think it's a great tool. I think it is really helpful when, I've used it to make meal plans when I'm trying to lose weight, or I've used it to make workout plans. Really, it seems like I use it a lot to try and figure out ways to get in shape. But in all seriousness, it helps doing some of that thinking for you. And I think the key word that I use, especially when it comes to my business, is the word tool. AI is a really great tool for if we're designing a session. So all our sessions are entirely customized. And if we are working on a session and we know what their need is for this part of the session, and we know we need to do this kind of game or this kind of activity, but we don't know exactly what we want. We know we want these elements and these elements, but we haven't tied it all together. I'll use AI to generate me a list of 5 to 10 exercises. But that's where it stops. AI gives you the groundwork, but it can't, at least the AI I've seen, it can't do all the nitty gritty of really, because for instance, we have had a group that asked us to do empathy in marketing. They wanted really to be put in the other person's in the buyer's shoes, and to have their employees feel that empathy. We asked AI for a list of 10 examples of improv and acting games that could deal with that. AI did a good job of giving us games that deal with empathy, but it missed that piece of in marketing. It missed that piece of how you actually translate this to the feeling of being a buyer. So once they gave us the games, we found the game that resonated most with us, and then edited and tweaked it so that you weren't just speaking to the empathy of another person, but an empathy of an entity, of a whole community, of a whole environment. And so that's really what it is. It is a tool for getting you past writer's block or moments of challenge, but it is not the end product. You still need your own ingenuity and your own complex understanding of the inner workings of your business and your community in order to utilize it powerfully in business.
Yes, these are important insights. We had actually experts before, also subjects of AI or AI in AI industry altogether. Yeah, they actually mentioned similar things as well. AI being the tool, so not in a position of replacing occupations. It is not yet. That's how it looks, and depends on how we program it. Also, that's another point, of course. But looking at it as a tool and utilizing it is more realistic nowadays. That's actually what we are learning from experts. And similarly, you mentioned similar insights. That's important. So it looks like that's how it is positioned nowadays. But then we'll see the future, right? That's to be seen. All right, good.
Yes.
Well, speaking of features, so let's talk about predictions. Well, so in our podcast session, we talk about predictions, and I like to ask you as well. So, what are your predictions for 2025 and further in terms of economy and job market and business in general? How it's gonna be? You think?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we in general are at a time of like absolute spike with the way technology is transforming. But I think the key for me when I look at predictions is because I'm not an economist, right? I do team
Mhm,
building and employee engagement. So for me, the question is how is the economy and all of that going to affect my business, right?
mhm.
And I think in the most, empowered and honest way, I can say it won't. Teams are always going to be important. And the ideas of the many is always going to outweigh the ideas of the one. And creating interpersonal connection, creating authentic backing is something that we're always going to need because because of what I said, because the ideas of the many are always going to supersede it. So when I think about the economy, when I think about the future of business in general, because of where I am positioned in the market that I am, my thoughts always go to my business, and the answer is that we're always going to need team camaraderie.
Yes, makes sense. Yes, absolutely. Well, this is a bonus question. So,
Okay.
well, we talk about employee engagements and team building. That they are critical, right, for any business. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, for any business who hasn't experienced any type of employee engagement activity, for example, or event, how can they start? What's going to be the starting point? Right? How they can, you know. Uh, get it started in their organization or get planning, you think?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a great question. So I think that really comes to the structure of how we build. Um, and we always say that culture is the only thing that actually trickles down. So culture starts at the top and it works its way down. So the way that we work is that we want to work with your highest level of leadership team that we can. Because if we start with, your front of the line employees and them, they'll be great and they'll be connected. But if they have a boss, because we always include the leader in the session, that's super important to us. But let's say
Mhm.
their boss's boss is not involved and doesn't know any of the things that we've now taught this group, if they come down and they rain, discomfort and pressure and all these things, it can filter down and crush any work that you've been doing in team building. So if you start at that first level, you're going to
Mhm.
lose that momentum. But what you do is you start with the leadership team. You get them on board, you get them transformed, you get them really feeling what it means to be a truly bonded team, to trust each other, to feel safe with each other. And then you watch that trickle down. And then what you'll see is, okay, this team is actually starting to transform already. We want to get a session on with them. This team is really struggling. We want to get a session on with them. This team seems like they're in a stasis place. Let's hold on them until we get these two in line, and then we'll get to this team. So it starts at the top and then it works its way down. If you've never tried team building, or if you're wondering why it didn't work in the past, think about where you started the process, because always start from the top.
Yes, I definitely agree with you, and some of it I see also in our in enterprise software industry that I am in. Anytime that we implement a new technology in an organization, it always starts from the top. It's because it's change management. So change starts with a leader, and there has to be a leader, and
Yes.
leader has to lead, show the direction, and
Yes.
help team follow the change, the process. So absolutely. So that's what I'm hearing. There are similarities, and the leaders' involvement in this type of processes is critical.
Y-
So
yes,
that's what
exactly.
I'm hearing from you as well at the same time. So as I made
Yes. Yeah,
good. That's
no,
good.
and to speak to this really quickly, just um in speaking of change management, I have a perfect example of that. We had a team that we worked with where it was a brand new leader and a super like disconnected, somewhat disagreeable team. And we were like weren't sure how they were going to mesh, and so what we did was we created an environment where they could openly all explore that feeling of overcoming the discomfort of change and realizing what it feels like to be on the other side of it, having them tell stories about that feeling of accomplishment. And then we worked with that team for many months, and then what we realized was we were in a session with them like a month or two ago, and one of their leaders said, "Wow, like I'm so appreciative you guys stuck with me through all of this." And they said to him, "We would never leave you. We would never leave you because we feel so connected to you." And that's that part you're talking about. That's why the leader is so important, because even as all of the things and the general things that happen in business happen, if you feel supported by leadership, if you feel supported by the people at the top, you will fight for the organization. You will fight to stay in the community because you care about the people.
I like to shift our conversation towards next generation. As part of our missions at the American Business Podcast, we like to share insights with next generation as well, in addition to to current generation, of course. So let's talk about internships and apprenticeship programs a little bit. What do you think about internship programs as well as apprenticeship programs for next generation to get ready for their career path?
I think they're absolutely paramount. I think that as much great things as you can learn in schooling from being out in the world, I can tell you every single job that I've known someone have, there has been someone who said, "I never knew about this part of the job until I was on it." There are just certain parts of the job that they do not teach you in school. And the only way to actually have access to it is to actually get a hands-on experience of that work. And I think as far as for internship leaders and apprenticeship leaders, it is really important that you give them a mixture of one, that grunt work that needs to get done so they understand all of the intricacies, and teaching them how much goes into the actual job. So they don't just feel like a cog in the machine. They understand why they're a cog in the machine and what's the larger vision at play, what's the larger things that are happening around them, so that they get a realistic view of the industry that they're potentially going into. And I've even had it happen in a positive way where someone got an authentic understanding of a experience of work or of a specific industry from being in an internship, and realized they thought they wanted to be in the industry and they don't. And now they're in an industry that they love and that they enjoy and they feel connected to. And so giving people these hands-on experiences moves forward the process of them finding where they're really meant to be.
You are the head of Spot Corp events. You're an entrepreneur. Do you have
Yes.
any role models that you can share with our audience?
I do. Yes. It's a little bit cheesy, but probably my biggest role model is my dad. Um, my dad moved our entire family to Philadelphia when I was like 3 or 4 years old, and he was a lawyer and he was with a company, and it just wasn't a fit. And he left that job, and he had no plan and no assurity of what he was going to do, and he basically found a business online, a small business, bought in, and he built it from the ground up. And I got to really watch someone become an entrepreneur in front of my eyes. And I have watched him overcome challenges. I have watched him take on things in his business that he never thought he was going to ever have to deal with. I have seen him get to these crazy heights where even he was like, "I don't know, I've never been this level of a leader before." I've seen, him struggle, and I think when we see people in places of success, when we see people who are accomplished, it's really easy to think that, oh, well, they just breezed through. And my dad reminds me every day that it's not always going to be easy. It's not always going to be comfortable, but the rewards on the other side of all that hard work are so worth it.
Well, we are coming towards the end of our episode, but before we end it, I have two more points that that I like to share with you. One of them is: do you have any final career advice with the for the next generation that they can follow and listen to?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the number one piece of career advice that I would probably lock in with is finding your passion is an ongoing journey. And just because you find your passion doesn't mean there aren't going to be days you're going to be at work and you're going to be challenged or frustrated or sad or tired or any of these things. But what it means is that when you think about the larger impact, when you think about how it feels to do the work, when you think about the kind of effect it's going to have on the people around you and what you value, because to be fair, that's also what I value, and some people value more stability and finances and things like that. So it's really about locking into what you value, finding career and professional aspirations that fit that need, and then understanding the difference between when you're having a rough day, a rough week, a rough month, and when you genuinely don't feel connected to the work, when you genuinely are bored or disconnected or feel uninterested by the activities that you're doing. And also know, especially in today's world, you may love something for 10 years and it may be the perfect fit for 10 years. And then you may find a new passion. And that may be where you need to be for the next 10, 15 years. Don't be afraid to listen to what's happening inside of you and shift accordingly.
I love our conversation. Thank you for sharing your insights. Before we end our episode, would you like to share your reach out information, how our audience can get in touch with you?
Yes, absolutely. So my name is Jesse Puddles, just like I think it says on the screen. If not, Jesse Puddles. I'm the only Jesse Puddles on the internet, so I'm very easy to find. You can follow me on LinkedIn. You can follow Spot Corp events, which you can also see on the screen on LinkedIn. Our consumer events, which we still run, which I told you about, the spaces for people to feel seen, heard, and valued for their own stories. You can follow those on our Instagram, and then you can get information and schedule your own discovery call at spotcorpevents.com.
Jesse, thank you very much for being with us in your busy schedule. Thank you for sharing all the insights and educational knowledge. Thank you very much.
Of course, thank you so much for the opportunity and for what you're doing for the next generation to really help them understand what it means to be in business and go on that journey.
My pleasure. It's getting better and better with the experts like yourself. Thank you for your contribution. Much appreciated.
Of course.
To our audience and to our followers, thank you very much for watching us. As you know, every Friday we get together here at the American Business Podcast episodes. Sometimes we have one episode. Today we had 3 episodes back to back. So it was a great experience for us. We are ending it with Jesse Puddles. It was also a great episode for all of us. So next Friday, we are looking forward to seeing you at the American Business Podcast. Please follow us on LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, and Facebook. And looking forward to seeing you. Thank you very much. Have a good weekend. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Norton, advanced tech for advanced threats. Sign up today. Norton offers you different packages to completely save and secure your data and your devices. Each Norton package comes with antivirus, malware, ransomware, and hacking protection capabilities. In addition, there is VPN, private internet connection, dark web monitoring, and parental control capabilities in each package. There is a promotion going on right now. I have the QR code on the screen. You can get up to 60% discount if you sign up right now for one of the packages. There are packages of deluxe, standard, plus, and select. Depends on the number of devices that you like to connect, as well as the features that you like to utilize when you are using Norton. I have the QR code on the screen. When you scan the QR code, you'll see the different packages and options available for you. Scan the QR code, go to the page that you like to sign up, pick the package that you like to use, and sign up today. True story. I am also using Norton on daily basis, and I know all of my devices are secure every single day thanks to Norton. Scan the QR code on the screen and start using Norton today and save your devices and your data in a safe and secure manner with the help of Norton. Thank you very much and enjoy the experience. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Reddit. Do you know the biggest challenge nowadays for American small businesses? That is visibility. That's why we partner with Reddit, Reddit for Business. Reddit has more than 400 million weekly visitors. Furthermore, Reddit is reliable. Reddit is the number one source for real reviews on products, services, and brands. There is a promotion going on. When you spend $500, you'll get $500 in ad credit from Reddit. True story. I am a Reddit user. Anytime I need feedback or review for a product or service, I go to Reddit. I get the real answers, real feedback from real people, from Reddit communities. Scan this QR code and sign up for Reddit advertising for your business. Get the visibility for your company, your products, and services. Scan the QR code and sign up today. Thank you for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Brother. From large companies to small offices, Brother has powerful printers and all-in-ones for your growing business. Scan the QR code and find the best printers for your needs. When you scan the QR code, you can see the entire collection, business office equipment collection of Brother USA, and pick the one that you like. You'll find printers, labels, toners, all-in-ones, and other office equipment available on Brother website when you scan the QR code. Scan the QR code and start shopping for Brother office equipment today. Thank you for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Invicta. Invicta is known for its stylish watches, both for men and women. Invicta is offering unisex watches as well. I have a confession. I am an Invicta fan and I've been using Invicta watches for many, many years. This one is 57mm Invicta watch, automatic. Because it's black color, it goes well with my business outfit. And because it's automatic, I don't need batteries for my watch. It gets the energy by me just moving the watch from my wrist. So it creates energy and it can go pretty much non-stop. I have the QR code on the screen, and when you scan the QR code, you'll be able to see the Invicta watch collection. And you can pick the one that you like based on the color, style, and technology. Please scan the QR code, start shopping today, and join me using Invicta. I'm sure you'll like it. Thank you very much for your support. We are back in the American Business Podcast. American Business Podcast is the voice of American business. We support, promote, and uplift American businesses. That is our mission, and that's how we position the American Business Podcast. As you can tell, in each the American Business Podcast episode, we share educational and informative content. Live first, unfiltered, independent, informative, non-political American business podcast. If you'd like to be a guest in the American Business Podcast, you can send us an email, americanbusinesspodcast@gmail.com. If you'd like to be a sponsor, advertiser, if you like to promote your products and services in the American Business Podcast, you can also send us an email, americanbusinesspodcast@gmail.com. I'd like to also invite you to our website, americanpodcast.tv. You can see our coming schedule on the website, and you can learn more about the American Business Podcast, updates about the podcast, as well as the schedule. Well, in this special review, as we had a conversation with Jesse Puddle in one of our podcast episodes, we talk about employee engagement. And as we discussed with Jesse Puddles, and he actually called himself accidental entrepreneur. He's actually a great entrepreneur, of course, but in a conversation where he mentioned it, his position and the way that he helps companies is organizing events to create teams and team spirit, especially the employee engagement that he was talking about. And I asked him why it was important to create these employee engagement and these type of activities. And he said that's for the highest performance from the employees, as well as to increase the retention, talent retention, also to also create belonging with the organization. That's actually what he said. That was also an important takeaway from the podcast that I shared with you, podcast episode. Also, during these type of employee engagement activities, he also pointed out that it is important to create the psychological safety so that team members can share their insights in these events, so that it helps and contributes team spirit and team building process. He also pointed out the importance of leadership, which we'll keep talking about leadership in the American Business Podcast. It is because when you have a real leader in an organization, and she shows the direction for the team and offers the guidance and being an example, things are actually moving much better and faster in an organization. Jesse also pointed this out, having and performing great leadership, especially to manage change, change is the only constant in an organization because we keep evolving as an organization, as a team, and the leadership actually is critical for any successful change management process. I hope you enjoyed that episode as well in this sense. Well, we'll continue our 2025 year in review in coming days, and we have a lot to cover in our review process in the American Business Podcast. It is because with the help and support from you, and also having experts and professionals in the American Business Podcast during our interviews, we accumulated a lot of knowledge and know-how. So we like to emphasize, and we like to have this conversation with you during these review sessions. So this is our first session in terms of 2025 year in review, and we'll continue in the American Business Podcast to emphasize and highlight the knowledge and important parts of episodes that we covered during 2025. So we'll continue, but this is our part one, and we'll keep streaming part two as well in coming days. Thank you very much for listening, and thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much. Appreciate it in the American Business Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and like if you haven't done so. Please go to our YouTube channel and subscribe. Let's put the QR code on the screen, and you scan this QR code. It'll take you to our YouTube channel where you can subscribe. We'll truly appreciate it. Also, you can share your thoughts, your comments with us. We'll really appreciate it as well. Your engagement in our YouTube channel is a huge help. And please feel free to subscribe, like, share, and also put your comments in our YouTube channel as well in the chat box. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll continue the American Business Podcast 2025 year in review in coming days. Thank you very much, and have a great weekend.